Okay, so good morning. I got a bit stuck there with my internet as usual, but glad to have you here. This is Monday, the 25th of September. We are literally clearing the third quarter of the year, and very soon we'll be headed into the last quarter. Can you believe that? This being the 25th, this is the last Monday because next week, Monday, will be literally on to October, and so we'll be on Q4. And you know, when you get to such things, that's when you get to think and ask yourself, what have you done? What have you put together over the last couple of months? What have you done to get your act together? What have you done to push your message across, your business across, your dreams, your aspirations? So if you're joining us right now, I want to ask you to do something for me. I want you to go on, if you're watching this on YouTube, please head on to YouTube and literally subscribe. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. I'm asking you to do so now. So we could just pause a little bit, just tap on your screen. If you're watching this on video, which is what most of you are doing on phone, tap on your screen and it'll lift up and show you the little corner down there. Push it up, and on your right hand corner, there should be bottom corner, there should be a subscribe button there. Just tap on that subscribe button, and then you can select whether you want to receive some of the messages or all of the notifications concerning what we're doing here. Furthermore, we come every single day and run these trainings on a daily basis. So what I want you to do is, if you can, you're watching this on Facebook, please tag someone, invite someone. I want to see those emojis. I want to see you thank every one of us, and thank yourself for coming through. Thank those who've come on and been part of this. Now, remember, this is called the 7:30 Mentorship Academy call. We run these Monday to Friday without fail. So every Monday to Friday, we have a training. Today is myself, as you already see. And then tomorrow we have Sunshine Sylvia, Coach Sunshine Sylvia, who will be running with Mindset Change. On Wednesdays, an open market day. And so that means on Wednesdays it's kind of open. Any one of you can utilize these and take advantage and literally ask to be a part of them through a small little fee. And then on Thursdays, we have Dr. Nelly with Prosperity for Your Soul. And then on Friday is Dr. Jackie Molendika, who comes through with health tips. So these are the different programs we have every single day. And obviously, we expect that we will see you get as many people as possible. So remember to tag someone, remember to ask someone to be part of this. And then, by the way, as we are presenting, if at any time you have any specific question relating to what we're doing, you can feel free to come through and ask that question, post it in the comments, and we'll highlight it and cover it if we can. Now, today I am dealing with another topic around what I've been covering throughout. I've been dealing with 11 critical skills to master. So 11 modern critical skills you need to master. And these are very powerful because they will help you in terms of your progress, in terms of your ability to be able to become not just effective, but actually bypass or surpass those who you consider competitors. How that works is that it gives you the ability to be able to really maximize opportunities and put yourself ahead of the curve. So we've been looking at different skills. Now, these are skills which I've said repeatedly are not going to be taught to you in school. These are skills you just have to learn by following what we teach here. So this, by the way, is also available as a recording afterwards. The very same link you clicked on to come and watch this is also where the recording is. So when you just click on that, immediately you'll find the recording and be able to access the training. So anyway, let's move on. So a couple of weeks back, I received a very interesting video via WhatsApp of a speech made by the visiting Minister of Education from Ghana at an event hosted by the Kenyan president then, which is Uhuru Kenyatta, over the plan to implement, I think they've downtown it, what seemed to be a revolutionary reform made by the same minister in his country, which is obviously Ghana. Now, the reforms he spoke of were originally implemented by himself when he was in the USA, in that country's education sector, and were a resounding success. So he obviously had a reputation that preceded himself And so based on that, that's how President Kenyatta heard about him and asked him to come and, just be guest at one of these events. Now, as I listened with keen interest, he spoke of 3 key things that must be at the center of sweeping and effective reforms in the education sector, okay? I later learned, excuse me, that these reforms were first effectively implemented in the Philippines and helped revamp and change the sector in that country as well. And these 3 core factors mentioned were, you know them fairly well, but in case you don't, access, quality, and relevance. Now, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, that's the former Minister of Education in Ghana, the man I'm speaking about, states, and I quote, listen to this, he said, "A nation's most valuable resource is not its gold, diamond, or timber, it's its human resource." This is such a quotable quote that I am actually going to post it in the comments as well. I think Dr. Prempeh made such a massive point when he said that. I just loved what he said, and I love what he insinuated in that statement. So I'm going to just put that comment in the, in our comments so that you guys can be able to copy that. So he said these words, and for me, they are so critical. Why do I say so? Well, I'm about to explain. So there they are, I've just posted them. So he says, now access to education for all, quality education for all, and most importantly, relevant education that makes skills and knowledge learned applicable to the society in which the graduate settles and works. So that's a very critical thing. In other words, what's being said there? What's being said, very simply put, is that you need to find a way in which to make it possible to have all these things apply in the place of operation. Now, it is this aspect of relevance that I'm going to be dealing with in this particular post. So in this particular session today, I am dealing with this particular aspect, which is relevance. Okay, so it's one of the 11 critical skills, relevance. So let's just take a deep in this. Okay, so relevance determines whether one stays useful or is discarded as useless in any endeavor. Now, I know that sounds mean, but it is a fact, okay? In this day and age, when companies focus on 2 key factors, which is customer satisfaction and profits, your ability to be relevant is indispensable. So that means you gotta be relevant. If you're not relevant, you will be discarded. And of course, people don't like to hear that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. Okay, so this is a very critical thing that you need to take advantage of, take note of, because you won't run away from it. So what talents, that's the question now. So what talents and what abilities, okay, skills do you possess that make you relevant to your peers? Whether it's the workplace, whether it's clients, whether it's society, whether it's church, whether it's ministry, what do you have that makes you relevant? Okay, and further, the book of Proverbs speaks about this in a very interesting way. I'll get to that. Now, further, are these being upgraded regularly? So are you upgrading your skills on a regular basis? And I'm not speaking about getting an MBA, which is important, but I'm speaking about relevance that is beneficial in the immediate sense. And it is here where I like to speak of being fruitful. Now, it is your fruit, which can, by the way, relate to your gift. It can relate to your ability and talents and things of that nature. It is that gift that draws people, okay? And they're drawn your way and keeps them coming back. So in other words, people are drawn by how relevant and how powerful you seem to be. If you're not bringing this quality of relevance in what you do, I assure you, most people are not going to come your way. They're not even going to bother coming to be near you. So it's such an interesting thing when we talk about fruit. The Proverbs writer actually says that a person that is gifted will stand before great people. Even God used the illustration of the vine tree that risks being uprooted for its lack of fruit. So in other words, fruitfulness that we exhibit as individuals has a very big impact on our relevance and our stickability. In other words, our ability to stay stuck in a particular place. People, when I say stuck, I don't mean that in a negative way, but what I mean is to remain useful and wanted and needed and celebrated. These things happen because of the fruit that you carry. Okay, so Is that fruit there? So again, that is where relevance really kicks in, okay? So some great questions that will help your thinking cogs working or rather get your thinking cogs working and ready for what is definitely a must-have. So let me now run through 8 different aspects to really bring out the juices of relevance. So let's go through this. Number 1, what is that unique or special contribution that you bring to the table? In sales, we call this the unique selling proposition. So what is it that you carry that is unique and different? What do you bring to the table that makes you so attractive to those that you think need your service? Do you have something unique? Do you have something that stands separate from what the rest of the people share? And I think for me, this is one of the greatest challenges many people face. They don't have this ability to sell themselves uniquely. Do you know that from as much as just how you write things in your CV, how you place yourself and describe yourself, that alone can differentiate you? Just that. So for example, you know, NLP is something that I do, and I was taught, and our master coach is Dr. Nelly. She's on the call. Now, the way I've placed it in my write-up, in my what you call it, resume, or whatever you want to call it, I call myself a neuro-linguistic and cognitive enhancement coach. The truth of the matter is, this is the same thing. It's a neuro-linguistic programming coach, but I just pulled that out and just broke it apart in order to give it a more pizzazz feel to it, you know, cognitive enhancement, you know, like neuro-linguistic and cognitive enhancement coach. That gives me a bit of a unique feature there. And so it's true that we are all trained. For example, everyone on this call is trained. I mean, Dr. Nelly is our master coach. She's the one that taught us. And Sylvia, Sunshine Coach, is also a coach in NLP. She's gone through the course. So how do I differentiate myself? By just bringing out the words more. You know, if I wanted to really take that to the ultimate stage, I could actually add the word binder recognizes. There's the firm which certified us through what's his name, Van Rensburg. There's the name of the firm. It just slips my mind right now. So I could say binder whatever certified coach. You know. So that means I'm NLP, but I'm from the leading NLP practitioners. So anybody in that space, when they see that name and that certification, they know, oh, these guys are actually certified by Binder and whatever their names are. So that in itself separates you. So this is what I mean when I talk about unique selling proposition. You know, you could say, for example, you could say, I am an accountant. Okay, accountant. That's good enough. But you could enhance that by saying accountant with, and then put relevant certifications. That all of a sudden sets you apart. Now, these are things which seem very simple, but they're very, very powerful, because what they, there it is, Let's Live. So Let's Live coaching, but actually Coach Sunshine is beyond Let's Live. There's an actual coaching firm that even Mr. Van Rensburg is affiliated to, who are one of the leading finders of the NLP practice. So that's USP. What is your unique selling proposition? Number 2, what is the thing that separates you from all others in your workplace? So have you specialized? Now, specialization is very powerful. A lot of people do not understand just how powerful specialization can be. For example, I'm a web developer, but I've chosen to specialize in a number of very key skills. And what do I bring as a unique proposition? I write ad copy as well. So I can do very good ad copy. I know how to bring copy into the work I do. So I'm not just a developer, but I'm also good at words. I can use words to bring a different feel to what I'm doing. That's being unique. That's being different. Then number 3, what are you known for, and is it what people want? So this is where relevance kicks in. What are you known for? So if you're listening to me right now, what is this thing you're known for? What are you naturally good at? This is where everyone on this call, Dr. Nelly, Sunshine, myself, we always talk about this issue of working with purpose. When you work with purpose, it's very easy because then you are leveraging what you're already naturally gifted in. So look at what you're naturally good at. What am I naturally good at, Rev Walter? I'm good at talking. It's my thing. In the words of the late Augustine Lungu, uku bwatuka. Bwatukaring is my gift. It's my impasa. So I can bring that to the table. Now the question is, am I just bwatukaring or am I bwatukaring things which are important? And those of you out of the country, bwatuka means talk, like just talk anyhow, almost like ranting. Yes. So I pick the term rant, I make that part of what I do, and I pick all these terminologies and they're incorporated into what I do. And my rants are interesting. People want to listen to my rants. Why? Because I'm gifted. It is something I am good at. And one of the things I had to do, I had to make myself relevant in what I rant about. So I look at subjects that I'm passionate about, and then I rant in that space, and I speak to people that are interested in that as well. Remember, you can't attract everybody. That's just not possible. That's why you have to find the niche in which you are relevant and then become absolutely a master in that space. Just become a master in that space. I assure you, you become a master, you will have followers. Okay, so what are you known for, and is that what people want? So, for example, my wife and I we have a very strong sense of a calling to get back into ministry. Good people in my circle know this. We've been sharing this last year now, so we're about to go back into ministry. And which areas are we going to be, operating in? Well, areas which are gifted in. I'm very gifted in. I'm very passionate about family and marriage. Okay, that's an area I'm very, very passionate about. So I will definitely make myself relevant there, and I have already been doing so. Then also in the marketplace discipleship, how do you navigate the marketplace as a believer, as a kingdom advocate, as a kingdom citizen? How do you navigate the marketplace considering what's in the marketplace? So how do you remain relevant even as you espouse and show the kingdom of God and the gospel of Jesus Christ? How do you navigate that in such a shark-filled terrain like the one that we're in, which is the marketplace? So how does that happen? And then the third area that I am very passionate about is obviously the Bible and its understanding. So this is an area I will take a lot of time. You see, even if you watch what I post very, very deeply researched stuff. There is a group I am reaching out to. I'm not just reaching out to the crowds and to anybody as long as they'll listen. No, I know who I'm reaching. I know I'm reaching people like myself who were once skeptics, who once did not believe, but somehow may become believers like me. They may have a road to Damascus experience, or maybe they may have a revelation through God. Whatever it is, if I can play a role, I will do it. And I will speak in a way like I'm speaking to myself, dealing with what I had. And that's why when you come to my page, I assure you, amongst the pages that are out there which deal with pastors in my space, I assure you will never find a diverse group of atheists and skeptics like you see on my page. You know why? Because I am attracting who I was. This is who God called me to. He got me out of there, and so obviously he wants me to go back and reach those people. So you see, all this is what? All this is relevant. Which brings us to the fourth item. Do you have a special talent for dealing with people? So people skills, there are some fields which I agree, if you're an engineer or an accountant, maybe you don't need people skills, maybe. But I have found that if you want to really get ahead, if you want to really reach out there and really get the numbers going and really get your influence going, you're going to have to learn how to have people skills. And this intelligence is actually called interpersonal intelligence. One of the intelligences, we looked at the 8 different kinds of intelligences. So one of them was interpersonal, meaning dealing with different people and how to have empathy, how to connect with people, how to communicate effectively and be likable. So people skills is important. Even where you don't have it, learn it. I always remember my pastor, Pastor Day. Pastor Day always used to say, which is true because we lived with that man for 10 years. Pastor Day used to say he was a very reserved, very introverted person. He just wasn't a people person, which amazingly his wife was. So the wife was the supplement of Pastor Day. But Pastor Day mentioned repeatedly that he had to learn to become a people person. Why? Because of his ministry. He was a pastor. So if he was a pastor and could not be a people person, that was problematic. We saw it, he struggled with it, but the beauty about Pastor Day is he used to admit, he used to say, you know, I struggle with this whole thing, so I'm still working on this. I'm a work in progress. But the beauty is he recognizes, and I love that, because that means then he was able to work. What you recognize, you can change, you see? But if you don't recognize that you have a certain weakness or a certain challenge, and you don't do anything about it, you will certainly not change. So that was the issue. So number 4, people skills. Do you have people skills? Are you one of those that everybody just seems to dislike? Perhaps you have a stinking attitude. So maybe you need to work on that. And that's why you need people like us, whether it's myself, whether it's Dr. Nelly, whether it's Coach Sunshine. You need to be helped. You need somebody who is an authority to point out and give you feedback to what it is that you're challenged by, so that that can be worked on. So if people skills is one of them, you need that. So people skills is the one that helps introverts seem like extroverts. So a lot of people get shocked when they learn that I'm an introvert. My wife and people who know me very well will admit instantly that I am, because I like to be by myself. I enjoy my company immensely. But that's not gonna cut it, not for the kind of field I am in. So I have to be outgoing. So I have purposefully made myself a very outgoing person. When I'm at a cocktail or wherever I am, I will mingle, I will go around, I'll greet people, because I'm not gonna sit in my shell. I wanna connect and meet new people and interact with them. And I'll ask probing questions. I've learned how to ask probing questions that allow people to bring out themselves. So you find that it's easy now to get people to talk about themselves, because you know how to ask open-ended questions. So you get the, oh, do you have your cards with you? No, I don't. Oh, okay. So what is it you do anyway? Then they're going to tell you, oh, I'm an engineer. Oh, engineer, which field? And they'll tell you, oh, a structural engineer. Oh, that's interesting. So structural engineering, what's involved in that? All I know is engineers build roads and build buildings. Says, oh no, actually, so maybe they might mention, maybe they'll say, oh no, actually we worked. So you say, what works did you do? They said, oh, Millennium. Oh, really? That's interesting. So what was that all about when the water people were saying they're going to cut the water for 60 days? You see, now when you ask open questions, open-ended questions, it brings them out of the shell, and they actually start to talk and look for issues in their words, so that you can pick and bring out more, pick and bring out more. And if you learn this skill, oh my God, people will love you. People will feel connected to you, because you actually open an opportunity for them to talk, and people want to talk. Some people are just locked up in their own selves, and if they find someone who can talk and listen to them, you will be amazed how it actually can create great relationship and opening. So that's one of them. And then also number 5, I think, are you forward thinking with an overall sense of what the future holds? So in other words, you have the skill for anticipating. Can you anticipate where things are headed? So for example, right now, we've already been warned that this coming month, we're going to have even more expensive fuel. Why? Because in the world market, there's a big crisis going on. Oil has crossed the $100 a barrel, barrier, which hasn't been there for a while. Then Russia has closed up their diesel supply. So this is gonna. So now, if you are future thinking, what are the implications? But for me, forget about even that. Let's go even further. I've been doing AI. We've been studying AI. I had a guest on my show deal with AI, Madam Sarah, the other day. And it's a very interesting field. There are massive changes that are coming in our workplaces, in our lives, because of AI. So the question is, what are you doing? How are you anticipating the changes? And are you preparing for those changes? That's what I'm speaking about. Now, number 6, are you decisive, able to make the tough calls when others tend to hesitate? This area or this concept or this idea is called pragmatism. Are you pragmatic? Do you have the ability to make the best choice regardless? So in other words, this choice is good, bad, thank you. So say Bandler. So by the way, sorry, I'm looking at these comments, forgive me. NLP that we are registered under, the one that we operate under, is under the Bandler team. So very, very powerful. We've been under that for a while, and everything that we do is related to that particular affiliation. So anyway, so are you pragmatic? Can you make a decision no matter how painful it is? Are you willing to do what it takes in order to make that step and go to the next level? You know, a lot of people are very scared of doing that, right? So a lot of people will not make that decision. A lot of people will not take those hard choices when they need to. So this pragmatism is very important. So being pragmatic means neither being pessimistic, neither being optimistic, but being pragmatic, practical. Is this going to work? Do we like it? Not really, but is it going to work? Yes. Is it going to help us achieve our end objective? Yes. So you need to be that kind of person. This will make a huge difference for you in the workplace. It'll make a huge difference for you in your business. It'll make a big difference for you in your life. For example, let me give you a very pragmatic example in our own lives. You know, when COVID-19 came, COVID-19 forced a lot of us to stop having offices or use offices. We had to learn how to utilize our homes as offices. Now, I already was doing that before, but COVID-19 really took it to the next level. And what that did meant that now we had to ask that all important question: do you really need an office at this particular stage in your business to run, or can you run without one? And I tell you, we had to make that really tough choice of not having an office. But you know what? It's amazing how you can be practical. That's when I learned about these hired and rented spaces we can use. These what we call shared workspaces. I didn't know about shared workspaces until COVID-19, until when I was practical enough not to have a physical office per se. So instead of my business hemorrhaging 5,000 to 6,000 kwacha a month in rental, I could save that. But in fact, far more than that, because I also saved fuel in that I didn't have to do transport every day. Even if it's not fuel, just buses every day to your office and back, Unless your business is so dependent on a physical office because of the nature of what you do. For example, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, there are certain fields which you must be in your place of work. That one you kind of go in. But people like myself who are consultants, we have the advantage of being able to work where we are without necessarily having an office. And if I need to meet clients, I can either meet them at very, very high-end establishments like hotels, high-end, by the way, not these cheap ones. And then also I can meet them in those hired spaces. We have actually hired spaces, a number of places where you have working spaces where you can go and hire an office for a day, for a week, for a session, and just use it for that time. And you can also hire even conferencing for the same. We also have the option where you can actually go to the client's office. So I do that as well. And this in itself has helped me to be able to manage the reality of where I am at the moment. And then next one, do you have, this is number 7, do you have the ability to make sense out of even the most complex situations? Do you have insight? If you remember, I told you that there are 4 types of sights, right? You've got plain sight, which is just whatever you see. There's a chair there, there's a phone here which is recording me right now. That's plain sight. Whatever you see in front of you is what you see. So plain sight, and then you have hindsight. Hindsight is experiential sight. So you look back and you say, okay, this is what we did, and that's what we did, and that's what we did, and because of that, that's what happened. That's called hindsight. Now, most people are caught in the plain sight and hindsight space. They operate using these two, which for me are very, very limited. Then we come to the third sight, which is foresight. Now, I just spoke about foresight in a previous post, anticipating. Anticipating means having foresight, having the ability to foretell where you could be. Okay, foresight is very, very useful because it helps you to avoid common pitfalls. But the most powerful of them is insight. What can you glean that's not plainly seen? What can you gain from what is not plainly obvious? Having insight is the difference between being miles ahead of your competitors. For example, you know, somebody realizes that fuel is going to go up. So what do? They quickly go and buy a lot of fuel in bulk and wait, knowing very well that the fuel will go up. And then when the fuel goes up, they sell it. Even if they sell it at half the price, half between the real price and where they are, they're going to make a killing. Why? Because they know the fuel will go up. So if you're a fuel operator right now at a filling station, you want to buy all your bulk fuel right just before they change the price, because you know that it's going to go up unless something drastically happens with Russia and the oil producing companies with this barrel price at $100 a barrel. You're not going to see any. So the key is just learning how to read and gain insight and then do what's necessary before anyone can see. That's insight. That's the most powerful side. So foresight, insight is the kind of operations we should be on. And then plain sight and hindsight is the one that most people operate on, which is very lame. And finally, the eighth one, when presented with new tools, systems, and processes of management, how quickly are you able to adapt? So adaptability, flexibility. How good are you at adapting to the rapidly changing terrain that we're all living in right now as business people? Do you have the capacity to adapt quickly? And you know, this thing of adaptation is a big deal. A lot of people struggle with adaptation. They fail to adapt new technology. They fail to adapt new change. They fail to, in fact, change management is a huge challenge for most people. So they end up struggling immensely when it comes to change. And that's what, of course, Sunshine Sylvia teaches all the time. That's what she's pushing every day. Mindset change. We know without doubt that for most people, the ability to change is a big one. So we actually call that what? Change management? Yes. Can you manage change as and when it occurs? Are you willing to cut off what needs to be cut off? Are you willing to adapt in order to survive? My favorite quote is actually from The Matrix, when, what's his name? The architect is explaining to Neo about what's going on and who they are and blah, blah, blah. And then Neo says, I'll just go and switch off all the things. Wake up and destroy all the fields that you're mining of human beings. And then, you know, the architect says, we are prepared to go to very low levels in order to survive. We are prepared to adapt to low levels to survive. I love that. In other words, are you willing to do what it takes to remain relevant? This is where a lot of people have a struggle, especially in the area of letting go of work people, letting, you know, chopping off certain things, selling off vehicles, you know, because there are certain things we tend to accumulate around us which are just vanity. But when the reality hits home, are we willing to let those go in order to remain flexible and survive? In closing, in the movie Hidden Figures, the American space program administered by NASA in the 1960s had a number of female African Americans who were called human calculators because they were geniuses who could calculate huge complex equations mentally and in very short times compared to ordinary people. So they were thus indispensable. So this is an illustration about all these things I've just said, relevance, right? But then IBM manufactured the first computer that was the size of a small room. It was a pretty massive thing, right? However, that computer was incredibly complicated to use and it required programmers and code generators. Now, these ladies, sensing the changes that were about to happen at their own expense, quickly went on to learn and acquire the skills required to operate this monster contraption of a computer. And once NASA scientists had figured out how to make the computer work, the ladies could not be fired. Mind you, their work was rendered obsolete almost instantly when this thing could calculate, right? Because now this computer needed an operator and these ladies could do the job better than anybody else. That, my friend, is what I call adapting to change. You need to be very, very, very effective in this instance. This is what I call insight. Listen to this. They read, and I need to say this really slowly. Listen to this. Just hear me. All eyes on me. I want to read this statement. It's too powerful. They read the times. They understood the trends and where they were heading to. They adapted effectively and transitioned into the new era by remaining relevant. Now, this is a quotable quote. This is what you should be. So I'm going to post this in the comments because it is too powerful. We're literally at the end now. I'm closing. So listen to this. By mastering the skill of relevance, one will see themselves getting ahead, especially in the very present times and more so in the near future. Literally within 3 to 5 years of this transmission, you're going to see that everything I'm saying here is so relevant. Do not wait for your company Do not wait for your situation to force you to adapt, because if ever that is your strategy, chances are that your adaptation will come a little too late. Okay, so the key is to anticipate. That's why it's one of the 8 skills. Anticipate beforehand, have insight to what's going on, and then work to acquire whatever is necessary so that you are able to transition into this new space without challenges. The rest will remain complaining whilst you progress. There's a saying, I'll close with. It says, great people discuss ideas, average people discuss events, and simple people discuss people. You see? So where are you? Are you on the lot that discusses ideas? This is what we're doing here. And then if you are quick enough, you can adapt with the idea. The average persons will be discussing the event when things change. Oh, look what happened. Hey, you know, that's why. They'll be just discussing the event. Average people won't even know what happened. They'll just be busy complaining. Hey, they just favor people in that company. They just like that Mwambazi. All the time, they're always doing things about, hey, that Mwambazi. Hey. You know, they'll just be complaining about a person. They don't realize Mwambazi is an idealist. So he has been pragmatic, practical, relevant, insightful. He has been doing things that ensures he's ahead. So we all need that. And that's what I want to close with. So as this transmission ends, think seriously. Ask yourself, are you doing this? And so one of the ways to make sure that this works is in our next transmission. In our next transmission, we'll be dealing about managing awareness. How aware are you of changes in your space? That, my friends, is the difference between staying ahead and remaining behind. So for myself and everybody, have a great day, be blessed, and cheerio.